Sunday, a little bit out of the ordinary, which is beautiful. And let's just give a huge round of applause to the team up here who has put on this amazing service for all of us today. And you don't have to be a young kid to enjoy and appreciate what Palm Sunday is about. Thank you, Christine, for leading us in that. It's amazing. So I know when we do these services, it gets a little crazy in here, and that's okay. So if you hear noise, kids running around, someone runs up here, that's okay. We just watch and just wave, okay? But I'm also going to preach a little shorter. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a taste sign because we also know that just getting whacked with palms in the face, just things like are a little out of the ordinary today. So have you all heard of the Nobel Prize? How do you win a Nobel Prize? You got to do something extraordinary, right? And what happens when you win it? A lot of money, that's true. A lot of recognition, a lot of money. So here's the question, does anybody know where that money comes from? A bank account, yes. So the Nobel Prize has been giving out millions. No? Oh. No, that's not it, but that was a good guess. Right? They've been giving out millions of dollars. Eventually, first it was just one, but now there's like 5 prizes every year for different areas that are giving out millions of dollars. Would it surprise you to know that all that money comes from investments made from the sale of explosives? Doug knew that. He just didn't want to tell us. But so the original man, Nobel, his last name was Nobel. I think it was Alfred Nobel, right? Alfred Nobel, right? He invented dynamite. He invented dynamite. And dynamite, at first he was like wanting to use it to expedite, making tunnels and roads. But of course, we as humans, we find out you can blow stuff up. We start using it as weapons. And so he was so heartbroken that his name would forever be tied to explosives. He eventually decided, I'm going to try to change my legacy. So he took all the money that he had made from dynamite and invested into this fund, this trust fund. And he said, hey, from now on, when someone does something good for the world, they're going to win, A Nobel Prize. Talk about changing the narrative, right? He did a pretty good job, because none of us even remember that that's what this is for. That's what the Nobel Prize is for. So even today, if you do something extraordinary, you can win money from dynamite. Believe it or not, that's exactly what was happening on Palm Sunday. Well, kind of. When Jesus comes walking down that valley, we just got to hear about it. Jesus comes down, right? We got to see Jesus come in, right? How crazy is that? Jesus, he's right here. He's not wearing his robe anymore. It's modern Jesus. He was coming in, they were putting their palms down, they were taking their cloaks off, and they were yelling what? Hosanna! They were yelling King. They were yelling peace, right? Sometimes we say things when we don't know what they mean. Same thing with the Nobel Peace Prize, right? We think we know, we don't know necessarily what it stands behind or what the roots of it are, right? We think we know what we're saying, but sometimes we actually don't. Sometimes you try to communicate with your kids. And you have no idea, you come in and try to act all cool. You're like, hey, bro, no cap, I would like some Takis. And your kids just look at you like, what are you doing, right? Right? You thought you were speaking their language, but, they don't understand you or they just think you're lame. Or when your kids come to you and they say, mother or father, I would like some money. And you just look at them like they're crazy, right? They thought they were speaking your language, but no, there's something deeper going on, right? That's what I want to talk about real briefly. It's the same thing that's happening with Jesus. Sometimes people were saying the words, but underneath, something was totally different, right? That you can say the right words sometimes, but you may not actually mean what those words actually mean. So, the people, one of the things that they were most excited about was they believed that Jesus was going to bring peace. Go ahead and turn to the person next to you and say, Jesus is bringing peace. Tell the other person. Now, what did they mean by that? When they're looking at Jesus and they're like, oh, Jesus, he's bringing peace. They wanted peace for themselves, but did they actually mean the kind of peace that Jesus was bringing? You know what I mean? Like when you get in a fight with your sibling, you know, still is happening. Saw it happening up here, right? Or maybe on the road, the drive here this morning, or you're 35 years old and you're still fighting with your sibling. What do you want? When you say you want peace with them, what do you want to actually happen? Stop bugging you. Maybe them to admit they're wrong and you're right? Exactly. Right? When we say peace, we genuinely want the fighting to stop, but we want it to be with the other person apologizing, usually, right? We're like, okay, bring peace to this fight, this relationship, by you admitting you're wrong and I'm right. That's the kind of peace we want, right? But then, what is Jesus bringing? Is that the kind of peace that we ask of Jesus? Sometimes I feel like it is, right? Hey, Jesus, bring justice by showing everyone that I'm right. Right? Or Jesus, bring an end to all this fighting by showing everyone that I should just be in charge. Jesus, bring peace by punishing everyone else that deserves it. Not me, of course. That's what these people were meaning when they were yelling peace at Jesus, when they were saying, Jesus is bringing peace. They were wanting that kind of a peace. Here's the crazy thing. Jesus does bring peace. It's just not necessarily the way you and I expect. Maybe Jesus' peace goes beyond just making you look good and everyone else looking bad. Maybe what's happening during Easter week is about Jesus getting to your heart. Not by going against everyone else. Maybe Jesus is concerned with what's going on inside of you. More importantly than just fixing the other person. What else were the people yelling? It was the word that Christine taught us. Hosanna. Did you tell us what it means? So you might know what the word means? Save us. That's literally what the word means. If you didn't know, Hosanna means save us. Save us. For these people, they had just become pretty much slaves to this ruling group that had just taken over their whole country. That's what they were. So when they're yelling Hosanna, what do you think is going through their minds? Save us from the Romans. Save us from our oppressors. Save me from that corrupt business person who's ripping me off. Right? Save me from the jerk who says he's my friend. Right? From the teachers who say they're to help, but they don't really care about the students. Right? Those are the kind of saving us that we're asking for, real and tangible. And here's the thing. Jesus cares about those things. He cares about that the Romans are destroying and oppressing these people. Right? But just like peace, we may have a wrong understanding of what it means when we ask Jesus to save us. Jesus does save, but maybe it wasn't the saving you and I thought we needed. Right? Maybe sometimes we focus on the problem. Jesus, take this bully out of my life. Right? Or Jesus, can you get me the money to pay the rent? Or Jesus, can you fix this mess that I created? Sometimes we'll admit we're wrong, but Jesus, can you just fix that, right? And those problems are real, and Jesus is so gracious and he cares that he does want to help us, that he does walk with us, even when we've caused the problems. But that's not his number one priority. When Jesus was walking into Jerusalem, when he rode that donkey into Jerusalem, he was caring far more about the brokenness inside of you and me. See, originally God made us to be perfect. Christine was sharing with us, right, about this thing called sin, this thing we don't like to talk about, this thing where somehow everything we touch as humans gets broken. Every relationship, every goal and dream. There's something broken in us. Many times, though, we try to fix it by just putting a Band-Aid on it. It's as if I were to get hit by a car, roll through glass, get up and my arm is facing this way, and I say, I just put a Band-Aid on it. Just the arm will be fine, just put a Band-Aid over it. Many of the times, that's what we do with the brokenness inside of us. We're like, let's just make a policy. Let's just put some more money towards it. Let's just, put the bad people in a box. Not realizing the problem is actually here inside of you and inside of me. So when we're yelling, Hosanna, when Jesus comes to save, he actually wants to get to the root of the problem. He actually wants to go and fix the broken arm, right? He wants to fix the broken heart that you and I have. So even if we're yelling, save us, what was Jesus really meaning when he's coming in there? And lastly, they were yelling at Jesus, King. They were proclaiming he was the king. What's a king? A ruler. He's over top of everything. You may not know it, but riding a donkey into a city would have meant, it was a sign that he was conquering them, actually. That's like, I won. So the king would sometimes ride in. He would ride in either on a horse or a donkey. Many times the horse would symbolize, I'm coming in, I'm going to just kill y'all. Or a donkey would mean, I'm coming in, I'm going to bring peace. So it was very symbolic, and believe me, the people knew that he was saying, I'm the king. But again, what kind of king were they wanting? What kind of king do we want of Jesus sometimes? Maybe the one who just fights on our side, the one that takes out our enemies. Revenge, exactly. That takes care of all those problems that we had nothing to do with. And that's what the Jewish people were yelling. And believe me, the Jewish people had gone through a lot, but they were broken people too. Just like us, sometimes we come in and we say, oh, Jesus, just come and fix the brokenness out there, without inviting Jesus to be king over the brokenness in here. Sometimes we invite Jesus to be king of only just part of our lives. That's why I love the Palm Sunday when they're literally putting their cloaks, the most valuable thing they have, on the ground so that Jesus can walk over them. Think about it, puddles, nasty stuff, their clothes are on it, and Jesus walking over it. That's what it means to be king. Maybe they didn't even know what they were doing. Sometimes we don't. Do we invite Jesus to be king over everything? That's what Palm Sunday is. Just like the Nobel Peace Prize, the Peace Prize, right? Funded by explosions. Right? Sometimes in the same way with us with Palm Sunday or Easter. We'll come in on a Sunday like this and we'll say, oh, I love Jesus. Hosanna. But we don't really know what we're saying, what we're inviting Jesus to do in our lives. That's the beauty of Easter week. It's the beauty of our God, is even though he's coming in and the same people who are welcoming him are about to kill him, he still loves us. So I want to invite the worship team up. Told you it was going to be short. You guys are so happy right now. Here's how we want to end today. I want to invite you